Is it a real show? Is it a fake show? How are we supposed to know? Just tune in and you will see just how real a fake show can be. It's really real. It's a big fake deal. It's the real fake show. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to The Real Fake Show. I'm Alan Massengale with my sidekick, Hamish Wright. And it's our pleasure to bring in a fabulous female actor, Carla Orlandi, who recently on this show played Marilyn Monroe. And I wanted to bring you back, Carla, because you and Marilyn have a lot in common. You're both Strasberg method acting students.
Yes.
But also, she has influenced you a lot in your career, although you're not one of these people that only plays Marilyn. I mean, you've been on television.
Right, yes.
and
No, I'm not an
theater.
impersonator.
You're not an impersonator, but
No.
she has influenced you because you know a lot about her, one of the foremost knowledgeable people in the world about Marilyn Monroe.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm one of the foremost knowledgeable people, but I do have a special connection to her, and I think it's part of being a method actress, and perhaps maybe, growing up adopted, and all the beginnings of the stories seem to be a little similar. So I have like a special heart connection to her.
Is there one thing you think that people most misunderstand about Marilyn Monroe?
I think that she was very misunderstood. Sorry, let me hang this up.
How busy
Always
she is.
busy.
I'll hang myself up. Jeez, Marilyn.
Very misunderstood because people just saw her as a dumb blonde, and she was not just a dumb blonde. She could play a dumb blonde, but she was very deep, intelligent, fascinating, charismatic, talented woman.
And you have a fascinating story that goes even beyond your knowledge of her. Take us into the story about your relationship with the assistant DA, John Miner, who was involved in the Marilyn case at the time of her now always mysterious death.
Yes. Mr. John Miner was the assistant district attorney present at her autopsy. And he was a witness of how all of the tissue samples disappeared, how she was treated during the autopsy, and they couldn't really do the testing of all of her organs because they weren't there to be tested. And he was a young man at the time, and he regrets not having spoken up. I've interviewed him for my film, and he basically believes in his heart that she was given a overdose of Nembutol, and it was a large amount of Nembutol, that it wasn't something that she could have taken because there were no pills found in her stomach or in her intestinal area. So someone must have administered this large dosage of Nembutol.
Mr. Miner believes, I understand, that maybe with today's modern science, the forensics could go back into the case, would like to see the case reopened.
He would love to see the case reopened, just to see, just to see. Now with today's science, it could be possible to find out what happened to Marilyn.
We're speaking with Carla Orlandi, a fabulous actor, female actor in her own right, and it goes even further than what you just told me, because you have obtained, which is a big part of this mystery,
Yes.
the transcripts from, I understand, Marilyn's therapist
Right.
when she was being treated prior to this so-called suicide.
Right. She used to do free association, which what she would do is she would talk into her tape recorder because she was very shy, and when she went to the therapist, she would forget what to talk about. So she would do free association at home and talking to the recorder. And these recordings were what Dr. Greenson had, and he shared those with Mr. Miner when Marilyn passed away, because he wanted to show that she was not suicidal. And it was very important to him, because here's this guy who, he's the therapist. He doesn't want his number one client to commit suicide. So he shared these tapes with Mr. Minor, and Mr. Minor went home and wrote everything that he heard. Until this day, he stands very firm in the fact that she did not commit suicide.
Well, I've been able to, thanks to Carla, read some of these transcripts, and I know that a lot of it is proprietary information because Carla's trying to develop a project about this mysterious death. But my conclusion, and I read them and I went, wow, not knowing very much about Miss Monroe at all. She was in no way in any state of mind that you would normally hear a therapist. If you're suicidal, you're going to talk about your depression.
Exactly.
She did not. She was looking toward the future,
yes.
forward.
She was looking forward. She had a lot of plans. She had just renegotiated her contract with 20th Century Fox. She was doing
Ophelia.
theater. She wanted to do theater with Lee. And she had plans to redecorate, you know, her new home. And it was just, she was feeling good.
This is amazing that this story, here we are, 2010, is still out there with such compelling evidence in favor of Marilyn
Yes.
and her state of mind and who she was.
I think she was a very strong, spirited woman. And I
She'd
don't
have to
feel
be.
that she would have killed herself. Maybe she was upset and she did take pills. Everyone knows that she was self-medicating herself and she wasn't feeling that great perhaps that day. But to go from that to dead, found dead, lying down in your room with a door knob, a window broken and the doorknob shut and no pills anywhere. It seems to be a little bit of a staged death, and I think it's fascinating, and it would be nice for her spirit to know the truth.
It's very fascinating what you're saying, and what you're sitting on is a project that I know that in your heart has to be done.
Has to be done.
Has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
How far have you proceeded with this process so far?
Well, you know, we had a little bit of a problem. Our writer died, and so
Small problem.
Small problem.
Just a little.
Better to have a live writer.
And I think I can
so
play
we're at that
Marilyn.
place right now.
Amos
I can play Marilyn if you
I'm
need me
looking
one.
for someone that I can connect with that will, you know, work with me and we can move forward.
I can connect with you.
Well, just to sum it up, Carla Orlandi, I want to ask your opinion, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you in other roles down the road. But all these years, her legend just gets bigger and bigger. She doesn't seem to fade at all. Maybe that's because of the circumstances that she left.
Suddenly, of course, look at
Suddenly.
Michael Jackson, the same situation when they die young. We feel like we knew them and we capture that moment in time in our minds. So I think that is part of it.
Thank you, Carla, for coming by and
welcome.
sharing your story and playing Marilyn for us. Hamish will never get over it, by the
Oh
way.
my God. Freaked out for life. Yeah. But I can play Marilyn the movie. I think
so.
I've got that ability.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got that edge.
That's going to do it for this edition of The Real Fake Show. I'm Alan Massengale. We'll see you next time down the road.
It's really real. It's a big fake deal. It's the Real Fake Show. See you later.